ASRock's BIOS Flash utility bricked my brand new Intel Core Ultra i9 285K. At least that's what it looks like to me. We'll talk about the story after we roll title. Roll. I already was starting that particular day, that fateful day, off on a bad foot. Because I was in studio, I had the phone turned off so it wouldn't chirp. So I didn't hear the delivery person drive past the gate. That camera's tweet didn't alert me. Space outside of the garage. Activity didn't tweet me. The two in the back cameras on the back porch, back area, didn't alert me. What it did was I was in a studio working, which is on the front of the house, in the back of the house, through the living room, kitchen area, the big great room, back porch, and I hear this smack. Doesn't look too bad on camera, but I have a clip of that. Let's watch that. And we'll let you think what you want to think. Again, this is just off to a bad start. I look at the box. It's got a bad corner. Inside the box, on the purple ASRock box, but not outside the box, it's clear they drop it down flat last few inches, not on its corner. This looks like it might have some issues. Opening the box on the big reveal, I have a flap on one of the white boxes internal. It's got a big rip in it, like somebody's already been into this. And then I check it out, don't see any physical damage. Lift up to insert this processor, inspect the socket, and this is what I see. Lots of damage. One pin, which is lots of damage, because any damage is lots of damage. So I get a virgin board with a ding corner and not an outside box. It's been dropped like a stone. All of this stuff, boogered up pin, and you know I'm not going to risk a processor that costs what this does in a motherboard that's obviously damaged. But I can't put a review on the seller's website, because they will delete it if you say anything about delivery or anything about the vendor. You have to talk about the product. Well, the product, I think, was returned, and I'm seeing a lot of that since the COVID. It's just been extra bad from my perception about filtering the truth. If someone says they think they have a problem, if it's about delivery, they'll take it off. If it's about a vendor maybe selling stuff that have come back, here's what I ask you to do. If you have a product and it's damaged, or you damage it, I'm not going to tell you to come clean or whatever, but if when you send it back, if you make certain that you say it was defective rather than you just wanted an MATX board instead of this ATX, or you wanted an EATX board, or you wanted something bigger in more capabilities or cheaper or whatever, tell them the truth. Tell them the thing is damaged so they don't send it back out to somebody else. Would you do that? I have confidence in you. You're good people. You'll do that. So anyway, there we are. Doesn't work. We go to fire this puppy up. All right, we're going to have to go through a BIOS boot, because when we look on this page behind me, what we are going to see that we've got the right machine, Nova 890, Z890, Wi-Fi. We know that if we come down here, we get the support tab. This is specific to the product. If we go up to the top one, it gives us the general. Now we have this right here, our list of BIOSes. Now this one right here, this instant, see this yellow one, instant flashback? Not an option. Why is it not an option? Because I get no video. The video is not working. Can't get to see the BIOS. If I can't see the BIOS, I can't use the instant flash. I have to use the flashback method, which is completely different because I have no video. And what does it say up at the top? It says, let me roll this up. It says, let me zoom in a little bit more. Please read the information below before downloading or updating the BIOS. 1. Carefully read the instructions under the little eye guy right there. Update method shown below, because we got two different ways, right? After updating the BIOS, all settings will be reset to their factory defaults. Okay, that's not a problem. Nothing's installed yet. If the system is working properly, we recommend that you do not change the BIOS. Video's not working. System's not booting. It's not working. I have no choice, and I can't go through the BIOS because the video doesn't work. Okay, I don't like doing it, but I put a video card in it, that old 1050 Ti. Doesn't work either because it won't post. It won't get out. Check the memory, swap back and forth, take out the SSD, take out all but one chip, one DIMM of memory, swap that out for the other one. It still won't post. So what do? We consider doing this. Now it does say, if we bring up this manual, let me get this back up to the top. Oh, right there we see the yellow. It tells us before BIOS flashback function, please suspend BitLocker. We've talked about that, and any encryption or security relying on the TPM, because it's going to wipe this stuff out, including your key if it's in there. Make sure that you've already stored and backed up your recovery key. If the recovery key is missing while the encryption is active, the data will stay encrypted and the system will not boot into the operating system. We recommend disabling the TPM before updating the BIOS. Otherwise, an unpredictable failure may occur. Actually, I would say a predictable failure will occur. Why? Because Microsoft's BitLocker. But we have no operating system. That ain't it. I can't even get video out of this puppy. Getting a little irritated. Now this is the second board, by the way, because I sent the other one back. This is a brand new board. Socket looks fine. Processor's brand new. It's not booting, not posting. Let's go back to our screen on our BIOS over here. All right, this is what our back looks like. Now I have come to understand that if it has this little bracket around, the gray bracket around one of the USBs, that is your flashback port. When we read the instructions that are here, this will tell us to go find the flashback port on your manual. Now, let me get myself out of the way so we can read this. It's a download the BIOS. Check. Get a stick. Must be FAT32. Check. Extract all. Leave this file in the root of your USB. Rename it Creative ROM. This actually works. This actually allows you to back it up or change the edition. A lot of boards won't let you do it. It'll only let you go forward, won't let you roll back. This will let you roll back. It tells you you don't have to even have the processor in. Just connect the power connector on this side. I had both of them. What the heck? I already had the cables attached to the power supply. Goes through. It tells you, here's your switch. Look for an LED. Wait until the LED stops blinking and indicates that the BIOS is complete. If the LED burns solid green, right there, this means that the BIOS flashback is not working. Please be sure you plug in the USB drive to the flashback port. That would be this one on this particular birthing person board. Here's the problem. On the back of this board, do you see any LEDs? Well, we got some on the network. That's it. Don't see any other cracks showing up anywhere. It's just not there. But if we're super careful after we've been frustrated for a while, we see that this example shows that one implementation, we use the flashback LED and switch R together. See the gray button, gray square, gray rectangle, gray square. These are your flashbacks. Don't hit the CMOS, right? So that helps if you know what you're looking for. If you're not, and you've got a brand new investment sitting on the table and you can't even get video out of it and it won't post, that gets a little irritating.
Just push it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I saw it blinking. Now we got a red button blinking. Whereas other models may have a separate LED, apparently the button itself must flash. We'll let it go. Hopefully it'll work.
A few moments later. Hey, appreciate you watching. Do me a favor if you will, subscribe to the channel, either the YouTube or the Rumble channel, which this appears in. And if you can, check the notification bell or settings to make sure that you get notified when new videos are posted. Appreciate it. Now, let's go back behind me. Let's look at this. What does this say? It says, take it to the latest, I think. So I took it to the latest, which would be 219. 220 is a beta. So we didn't want to go to beta if it's not been approved. We'll go to 219. So wherever we were, I don't know, because I can't read the BIOS because the display is not working either with a discrete GPU or integrated. Can't read it. Don't know which one's there. All I can do is say, well, let's try the latest approved one. It does say here, it talks about there's an update from microcode. Here's another update to microcode. It says right there, do this to 113. It's the latest approved. We tried it, and guess what? Still won't post. Dr. Debug, it hangs up most of the time on 2A. And 2A, according to Dr. Debug, is IDE detect. Don't have, well, I don't know how PCIe works, but IDE, not there. Later it gives me a SCSI, not there. It's not working, no video, updated to BIOS. Should we try? Should we try, ASRock, should we try the beta version up here and taking the microcode to 014? Should we try that? 114, 0 by 114. Well, we did. And it bricked the CPU. I assume it bricked it because we wrote the microcode 114. And Dr. Debug never moved off of 0. 0, 0, didn't matter how long, it never moved off. We didn't get to hang on 2A. We didn't. It hung up right there on 0. I assume it was dead. At this point, we got a couple of Praise Jesus coming up, or Pray for Jesus coming up. Can we get it to work after this? Because it sure is dead. It's not posting. It's not passing memory. We've already tried everything. Still can't get video out of it. What did we do? Well, we happened to notice that down here with update microcode to 0112, it does talks about it fixed an iGPU and DGPU conflict issue. Improved memory compatibility. So we rolled it to this one, 215 from 24/11/29. And it posted. We unbricked our brick. All right, if we have some new folks out here that's just learning how to do some of the stuff, we're going to use our little Dr. Debug and show you what a value that is. That we have this indicator that will give us an error code, give us some diagnostics. Well, let's go ahead and turn the power on. All right, if you will notice that we do not have anything going on our display here. We have our reset and our button. This is also very nice that ASRock has on this board. So we can push that, watch it come up. It's going through the post codes. And at the end, it should come up to and go off when we're finally up through the post. Now watch, here we are. We're doing all kind of little stuff out here in the background. As our computer is waking up, it's testing the memory. There's our A2. Let's see if it will go ahead. Yep, we're up. We're booted. Now let's look over here at the screen. Well, we got fingerprints on there. Where'd our ASRock go? There we go. So we actually got it to boot and got it installed. A few moments later, it was dead. It didn't make 12 hours. Now there's a question we'll never resolve whether or not it was a bad processor out of the factory. It was factory sealed. Whether it was a bad board out of the factory with, bad programming. Whether or not there's errors or some way that the end user, by trying to flash the BIOS, messed it up. What we do know is that we did not have video when we first fired it up. We know it didn't process right. There was a place where we tried both on-chip graphics and with that board, and neither one of them would display. Now we have to be patient when we start up a new machine, especially with this high-speed memory, that we give it a long enough time to see if it can then learn what speeds it can operate at. But we don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. The general rule of thumb is to update your BIOS to the latest one that's been approved, because the idea is we found all the bugs. Then after we fixed one bug, maybe we then found another bug because it was there, but it wasn't the biggest one. So we fix things. Sometimes we put bugs in it, whatever. But what we do know is that it died. And look at this video right here. This proves that it died while running. It wasn't a thing of Windows shutting it down on the power circuit, deciding that, hey, well, we've just been idle long enough, let's go to sleep. No, it actually died. Well, here is part of your update. When that processor gave up the ghost, it killed my little Windows. All right, so we're up. We cycled through Dr. Debug, and we've got an off state on the 2 digits down there, so we're in good shape. Let's see if we can do a Windows recovery so I don't have to rebuild it. And beyond that, it did repair easily enough. I just went through that process. And this is after we dropped in without touching anything, the board as it sat with the dead processor. We dropped a new one in and it worked. And after that worked, then we re-updated us to the latest approved. We didn't do the beta, and it still works. Now we also see that there's something else a little hinky about it. We still get a little bit of pixelation. And see, there's another dot just popped up. They'll flash up and stay until there's some kind of action on the screen, then they jump around and move. I don't think we can blame this on Intel. Or artifact, whatever you want to call it, in the on-chip graphics, which to me tells me we still have a little bit of a buggy combination of something here. But can we say for sure flashing it bricked the chip? No, we did see that it bricked it, but we were able, when we went to the beta, but when we reflashed it to an earlier version, it came back to working. But while that was then thought to be done in an arrogant, hubris type of way, hubristic would be the adjective, I guess, a hubristic kind of way, pure arrogance on our part that we thought we fixed it, it turns out it just died on its own. So a good shout out to Newegg. Newegg went out of their way to get me a new processor. We talked about it. They went out of the way. There are a few people out there on the internet, on YouTube, that absolutely trash Neweggs. I can't give you that same opinion. They've been good to me. They were good to me in the past. They were good to me this time with this processor. Your mileage may vary, but I think they did a very good job. Can we blame ASRock for that first board that the lady threw down, that the box wasn't damaged, that the corner was, and we didn't try it because we saw a bent pin in it. We said, well, we're just not taking the potential of somebody's return stuff. and I don't see well enough to straighten that pin. I don't have a microscope to get down there to get it in the right shape. So we sent that back, got to know it. So what is the odds of getting 2 bad boards in a row? Well, physically damaged, I would think probably pretty low. Especially if we're taking them as they were returned, sent out and returned. That would be, I think, probably astronomical. If it's a programming issue, I would think it'd be pretty good because they're going to do a batch of them and load a container and send it on. So I don't know. It could be in the programming. It could be bad processor. Let's be fair. It could be the idiot behind who followed the instruction or misunderstood an instruction or something. I don't think so, honestly. I don't think so. I think something was wrong from the get-go because, again, we should have it. Let's watch a post and I'll talk through it and you'll see. Very quickly, let us look to see what we expect to see. Well, we're going to turn the power on and we should see lights come on. All right, so we've got our little circuits going on. And down here with this particular board, we do have a reset and a power switch, and we notice that the power on self-test, these 2 digits right there are doing nothing because we're not booting up, we're not posting. So before we see actual videos show up, we should see that start to glow, start to run through some numbers, and they'll be increasing as they go, and hopefully will come up. Now this is very, very minimum. We are running off of the integrated graphics, off of the CPU. We have a small cooler here. I think it's 92, 98, something, whatever that size is. It's less than 120. Cooling this. We're not going to be running any heavy games or anything. There are programs, no benchmark, so it cools fine. We have our 2 sticks of RAM. Now when we come down here, like I say, this is going to start clocking up. As soon as it starts to post, it will go away when it's done posting and we're loading the operating system. Are you ready? Let's see how we go. Now, when it first came in, I could not get any video out of either the card or the integrated graphic. Just push the button. All right, start at 0. See how it's gotten off of 0 because it's passing as it would go. All right, we've got it coming on. Let's back up just a little bit so that we can see that when it hits the video, boom. See right there, what were we at? We're at 6 something. So A2 is past where we're starting to look for drives. We're past where we should have seen our first splash of video. Now when we come down, we've stopped. So we're done. The Dr. Debug is done. And lo and behold, we have our operating system up. That's what we expect to see. You'll notice that we have, do you remember this thing we call Wake on Land? In the enterprise solutions, at one time when you turned your computer off, it was off and you had to turn it back on. Then in enterprise situations where we have a bunch of computers distributed throughout the office, we would turn them off with shutdown at night, but they're not really off. They're like this. They still have their little circus act going on with the LEDs. And so they're not completely asleep, but the processor and the main parts are asleep. The fans are asleep. I don't know why we need our colors at night. There ought to be some way to turn that stuff off, completely just off. But we could wake it up if we sent to a specific MAC address that we knew associated. Mr. Computer, wake on LAN. I'm going to hit this local area network because I need an update to do while everybody's not working at night. We can wake on LAN. I think later on we have wake on Wi-Fi does the same thing. So it's not really completely 100% asleep. But if you can't get off of 0, we have our doctor. Where's our little Dr. Debugs? We got our little Dr. Debugs. We start at 0 and kind of count up. So the very first thing we see in it is PEI core started. Well, if it doesn't get past 0, the core hasn't started. Now, is that a dead processor not working, not taking the signal the birthing person board gave it? Or the birthing person board cooked? Or did the programming scramble in there and it locks up and it doesn't work anymore? I don't know. I give credit and doubt where they go. I don't know why this didn't work. I know it gave me a much harder time than it should have because this is not my first rodeo. And I'm fortunate that as of today, we're still up and running. And we're getting ready to migrate from the Gen 4 to the Gen 5 on the Windows 11 that did repair. And we're going to now put Windows 10 on the little one, on the 1 gig, the little free disk that came with my little processor from Newegg. We're going to get that going. And we're going to get it in a case and get it wet.